Look at those kids playing in the park across the street. They have so much energy.
They really do. It looks like they are having a great time. It reminds me of when I was their age. We used to spend the entire day outside, especially during the summer holidays.
Me too. We would leave the house in the morning and only come back when our parents called us for dinner. We did not have smartphones or tablets to keep us busy. We had to invent our own fun.
That is so true. We had to be creative. It makes me feel a little nostalgic, actually. It raises a question for me. Did you have a favorite game that you used to play all the time when you were a child?
That is a fun question. I think I did, but I want to hear your answer first. What was your absolute favorite game?
That is an easy one for me. Without a doubt, my favorite game was hide and seek.
Hide and Seek. That is a classic. I used to love playing that game too. What did you like so much about it?
I think I loved the excitement and the suspense. The basic idea is so simple, but the game is so much fun. One person is the seeker, and they have to close their eyes and count to a number, usually to 100.
And while the seeker is counting, everyone else runs and finds a place to hide.
Exactly. The feeling of running to find the perfect hiding spot before the seeker finishes counting was so thrilling. Your heart would be beating so fast. And then you had to wait quietly, hoping that you would not be found.
I remember that feeling very well. You would try not to breathe too loudly, and every little noise sounded so loud.
Yes, it was a mix of being a little bit scared and very excited at the same time. For me, it was the perfect game.
It sounds like you had a great place to play. Where did you and your friends usually play hide and seek?
We were very lucky. I grew up in a neighborhood with a lot of big backyards and a small park. There were so many amazing places to hide. It was a paradise for a game like hide and seek.
Can you give me some examples? What was the best hiding spot?
Oh, there were many. There was a huge oak tree with low branches that was easy to climb. You could hide among the leaves. There was also an old wooden shed in my neighbor's garden that was always unlocked. Hiding in there, in the dark, was very exciting.
That does sound exciting. Did you have a secret spot that nobody else knew about?
I did. My favorite spot was under the porch of my house. There was a small hidden space behind a big bush. Nobody ever thought to look for me there. I remember one time I hid there for almost an hour. My friends thought I had gone home.
So you were clearly an expert at hiding. But what about the other part of the game? Did you enjoy being the seeker?
That is a good question. At first, I did not like it as much. It felt like a lot of pressure. You are the one who has to find everyone else, and sometimes my friends were very good at hiding.
I can understand that. It feels like you are the one doing all the work, while everyone else is just waiting.
Exactly. But after a while, I started to enjoy it more. There is a special kind of excitement in being the seeker, too. It is like being a detective. You have to think like your friends. You have to ask yourself, if I were Sarah, where would I hide?
That is a very smart way to think about it. It becomes a game of psychology, not just looking.
It does. And the feeling when you finally spot someone and you shout, "I found you," is really great. It felt like a big accomplishment.
I love hearing about your memories of hide and seek. It sounds like so much fun. I enjoyed outdoor games too, but I think my absolute favorite game was an indoor game.
Oh, really? An indoor game? Which one was it?
My favorite game in the whole world was the board game Monopoly. I could play it for hours and hours.
Monopoly, of course. Another timeless classic. That game has been popular for a very long time. What did you love so much about it?
I think I loved it because it was a family activity. We would usually play it on rainy Sunday afternoons when we could not go outside. My parents, my sister, and I would all gather around the dining table. It was our special family time.
That sounds wonderful. Games that bring the whole family together are always the best. It is about more than just the game itself.
It is. It is about the shared experience, the laughter, the conversation, and just being together. Those are some of my happiest memories.
I have played Monopoly a few times, but I do not remember all the details. Can you explain what you liked about the gameplay itself?
Of course. I loved the feeling of building my own little empire. You start with a certain amount of money and you move your little token around the board. When you land on a property that nobody owns, you can buy it.
And the goal is to own as many properties as possible, right?
Yes. And once you own all the properties of the same color, you can start building houses and hotels on them. This is the best part. When another player lands on your property with a hotel, they have to pay you a lot of rent.
I remember that part. It is very satisfying to collect rent from the other players.
It is the best feeling. I loved collecting all the colorful paper money. As a child, it made me feel so rich and powerful. It was a fantasy world in a box.
That is a great way to describe it. So, in your opinion, is Monopoly a game of skill, or is it mostly about luck?
I think it is a combination of both, which is what makes it so interesting. The luck part comes from rolling the dice. You can never control where you are going to land. You might get lucky and land on all the best properties, or you might be unlucky and go straight to jail.
And where does the skill or strategy come in?
The strategy is about making smart decisions with your money. You have to decide which properties to buy. You also have to negotiate with other players. Sometimes you can trade properties with your sister to help both of you get a full set of colors.
So there is some negotiation involved. That adds another layer to the game.
Yes, my personal strategy was always to buy the orange properties. They seem to be the luckiest ones for me. I do not know if that was a real strategy, but it was my strategy.
You mentioned you played with your family. Did you ever have any arguments during the game? I have heard that Monopoly can cause some friendly fights.
Oh, absolutely. We had arguments all the time, but they were always fun arguments. They were part of the experience.
What would you argue about?
My sister and I would always argue about who got to be which token. I always wanted to be the little dog, and she always wanted to be the race car. We also argued about the rules sometimes. My dad was usually the judge in those situations.
It is always good to have a judge. What was the biggest source of arguments?
The biggest arguments always happened when someone was running out of money. My sister would land on my property with a hotel, and she would not have enough money to pay the rent. She would get very dramatic about going bankrupt. It was always very funny to watch. We still laugh about it today.
It is interesting to compare our two favorite games. Hide and seek was all about physical activity, being quiet, and using the outdoor environment.
And Monopoly was all about sitting down, thinking about money, and making strategic decisions with your family. They seem like complete opposites.
They do, but I think they have some things in common. Both games have a lot of suspense. In my game, it was the suspense of being found. In your game, it was the suspense of rolling the dice.
That is a very good point. You never knew what was going to happen next in either game, and both games were about playing with other people. They were social activities.
Exactly. You could not play hide and seek alone, and Monopoly is much more fun with more players. The goal was to have fun together with friends or family.
I think that is the most important thing. The games were just an excuse to spend time together and create happy memories.
I wonder if kids today will have the same kinds of memories about their favorite games. Everything is so different now with video games and online gaming.
I think they will have memories, but they will be different kinds of memories. I am sure they have a lot of fun playing video games with their friends online, but I am not sure if it is the same as running around outside or sitting together around a table.
I agree. There was something special about the simplicity of our games. You did not need any expensive equipment. For hide and seek, you just needed a few friends and a place to play.
And for Monopoly, you just needed the box. It is amazing how much joy we got from such simple things.
It really is. Well, this has been a wonderful conversation. It was a nice trip down memory lane. Thank you for sharing your stories about Monopoly.
Thank you for sharing your stories about hide and seek. It was really fun to remember all of that. We should get back to work now.
Yes, we should. But this was a great coffee break.